All right, what's up, everybody? A little 5-minute lesson on similarity in right triangles. Okay, this will be very difficult for me to do all this in 5 minutes, but I'll do my very best. Okay, first thing that we have to kind of recognize is what we have here is a right triangle within a right triangle. Okay, and I think just to save time, I want you to, how many triangles do you see there?
3.
That's right. I want you to know they're all similar. You could easily understand that because these two angles add to be 90, and oops. These two angles add to be 90, and these two angles add to be 90, and then they all end up being the same, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to label and we're going to try to orientate these things. So A, B, C, D. What we're going to end up having is a small triangle, a medium triangle, and a big triangle. Okay? That makes sense? And then I'm going to assign these things letters that we'll put on there. So this is the small leg, this is the big leg, this is the small part, this is the big part. This whole thing is the hypotenuse, and this is the altitude. Because the altitude forms a right angle with the base. So like you'd have to kind of spin this triangle around to like visually understand that as the altitude. Okay, I'll go back to red. So on the small triangle, I think it's A, D, B. Does that look like it's right to you? And then it looks like the medium triangle, the right angle is also at D. So this has to be B here. And this is C, okay? And for the huge triangle, oh, I forgot to relabel it. The right angle is B. Looks like the short side is BA, so that means it has to be like this, okay? Now the trick here is that these yellow segments show up more than once. So if I look at this, we've got P1, A, and L1 there. Does that make sense? And if I look at the medium sized triangle, I have A there, P1 there, and L2 there. And if I look at the big thing, you got L1, L2, and H for hypotenuse, but I call that whole. It's a trick, but it'll help me remember these formulas. So like just to look ahead, if I just let me see. How could I make this make sense? So look, if I did P1 is to A, so P1 is to A, like A, hold on, that's not true. Hold on, I messed something up. This should be P2. It's labeled wrong, which means this should be P2. So this should be P2. Excuse me. If you're following along with notes, pause the video here and change those, or otherwise none of this is going to make sense. Okay. So look, you know how we're allowed to cross multiply? So then you get this thing that's A squared is part 1 times part 2. And then if to find A, you'd have to square root that. You're going to learn this term called the geometric mean. We've talked about it in class, but this is the first time you've done it. Okay, when you find the mean is average. The arithmetic mean, we add 2 things and then divide by 2. The geometric mean, you multiply 2 things and then square root. Geometric mean, okay? So there, at the end of this, you're going to pause the video and there's all these words and it says the altitude of a right triangle inside of a right triangle is equal to the geometric means of the parts of the hypotenuse that it intersects. That's just too much for me. We're going to do this one of two ways. I want you to try it both ways and then pick the way you're good at. Either just draw the triangles out and set up a proportion. That will always work. Or just memorize the two formulas that are coming your way. You don't have to write anything down yet. There's not going to be a whole lot to write down. I'll tell you what to write down when I'm done. Okay? Boink, boink, boink. All right, so now let's try to use the method of redrawing the triangles. Okay, so real quickly, I just start by sketching 3 right triangles, a small one, a medium one, and a large one. Label your right angles, okay? Okay, so let's see, the right angle on the small one is D, on the medium is D, and on the big one is C. And then I go find the short side. So this must be B for the small one. This must be C for the medium one. And this is B for the big one. You following that? And then so for the small one, this is C. For the medium one, this is A. And for the big one, this is also A, right? Yep. Yep. Okay. And now just label what you have, but remember one of the things that you're either missing or have is going to go on there twice. That's the key. So I know AD is 6.4. That only goes there. It's the only place it goes. DB is 3.6. Okay? And we're looking for CD. So that's X. Oh, I see it now. Do you see how those two triangles are related? So I can say X is to 3.6, like 6.4 is to X. Here's the geometric mean part. The altitude is the geometric mean of the parts. But you don't have to memorize that. Now just solve it. X times X is X squared. You got a calculator? What's 6.4 times 3.6?
23.04.
Can you now take the square root of that? So just hit second. You know how to do that?
4.8.
Exactly 4.8? Awesome. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when we draw it out and see the pictures, sometimes we might have to use Pythagorean theorem depending on what's given, but that's always a good way to do these questions, okay? Now let's look at the second method. Okay, so in the second method, you need to use one of two equations. So we already learned one of them. Altitude squared is part 1 times part 2. And this is part 1 and that's part 2. Okay? And then the other one that I haven't stated yet is leg squared equals part times whole. So specifically, that's actually two equations, but if you can remember leg squared equals part times whole, it's just leg 1 squared is part 1 times whole, and leg 2 squared is part 2 times whole. So the legs and the parts match up. So what do we find? Well, we're going to find everything on this one, it looks like. So let's just start by finding what we can with the Pythagorean theorem. Do you see that we can find RE just by using Pythag? Because this is a right angle right there too. So let's say, let's call this X to start. X squared plus 9 squared equals 3 radical 10 squared. Okay. X squared plus 81 is, okay, radical 10 squared is 10. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 10 is 90. Subtract the 81 over, you get x squared equals 3. No, sorry, 9. Doing math in my head. So x equals 3. Okay. So now I have that part. So now to find ER, oh, got it. I did pathetic. You see how I did that? It's 3. Find DF. Okay, that's a leg, right? So we're going to do leg squared equals part times whole. Find DF. So leg squared equals, okay, the part that's on that side. So that's 27. And then the whole thing is 30. Okay? Can you do 27 times 30 and then take the square root in your calculator? You done or you have a question?
Both kind of.
What'd you get, Cora?
I got 8, 10, and then square rooted, it was like 27 point, a bunch of numbers.
Okay, just round it for me.
28, sorry.
Oh, no, we don't want to round it. We don't want to round it. I forgot. This is accelerated. Oh, what'd you have? L squared equals what?
27 times.
No, L squared. What was that number? 900?
8, 10.
8, 10. All right, so we have to learn how to simplify radicals. We already learned what we have to remember. So when we do L, it's the square root of 8, 10, which I can see is 81 times 10. 81 is a critical number because I'm looking for perfect squares to pull out. What's the square root of 81?
9.
So the best answer is 9 radical 10 for DF. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's clear that. To go again. For DE. Okay, DE. Oh, we already found DE. It's 30. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, oops. Now it works. Okay, so I'll go back to this, but I'm going to tell the people watching this video. This is like the most important thing. You might want to write all this down, but it's also in your electronic books. You might just like screen grab it, however you want to do this. But this kind of sums up everything I just talked about. And that's it. This is an old slide, so that's the last slide. Got it?
Thank you.
All right, boom.